Hey everybody, this is Rev from Into Gaming. Today I'm going to take a look at pings. It has to be covered. It's a topic that I'm constantly having to walk through and explain to new developers just starting to dip their toe in the multiplayer world when they're confused as to why things aren't syncing up in their simulations between player 1, 2, 3, 4, and the server and so forth. Anyway, yeah, we're going to dive into pings. So let's just jump right into this and give you a basic breakdown of things. So let's just step back and ask yourself a really simple question. If I do something on my screen or in my simulation of the game, how can another player playing the same server as me know about that action if the server doesn't know? So we're sending data to the server at a set interval, not when we push a key on our keyboard. It's a set interval. Um, so there's going to be a delay there. And then our packet has to travel across the internet to the server. So if I have a 20 millisecond ping, it takes my packet 10 milliseconds to get to the server. So automatically, I'm out of sync, or everybody else is going to see me out of sync. And that's just raw facts. That's physics. If I can't get the data of my actions to the server and then to you, you can't see exactly where I'm at, and I can't see exactly where you're at in real time. So when I'm playing a game like Battlefield or PUBG or Call of Duty, I what I'm looking at is past tense. Everybody else's actions is past tense. You see somebody just popping out from around a corner, they've already rounded that corner on their screen. By how much is dependent on their ping and my ping. Processing time on the server, processing time on the clients. Because packets don't immediately get processed when they're received. They sit in a queue buffer because servers and clients have a sequence of events that they process out. You can't do UI updates because that's rendering and that happens after simulation. I can't do any kind of animation because that happens with, after physics movement. So we have physics and movement and just a set grouping and sequence of things that happen within the game engine. This is how it processes data. There's a step process that it has to go through. So how long that takes is dependent on hardware. Game servers that running a 60 hertz tick rate are processing in 16.667 milliseconds everybody in that one tick, processing everything that they know about on the server in that time or a little bit less. When a server processes a tick, as soon as it's done simulating everything and doing its workload, it goes into basically a sleep until the next tick starts. So the actual simulation time on the server could be 11.5 milliseconds, but the interval is 16. So it's going to sleep for that last 3.5 milliseconds. It's just going to snooze out until the next tick start, and then it processes more data. Clients are constantly simulating rendering because we're running at higher frame rates. A server tick, when we say tick, that is a frame. It's a frame rate. Um, just as devs, we call frames ticks. We only call it a frame rate or an FPS on clients generally, because clients render. Servers do not. Servers do not render any kind of a graphic, anything. They don't have graphics cards, and they don't play audio. So, just a little extra insights there. So, you can see here in the little demonstration here that we're running around shooting packets back and forth. So, let me restart that simulation for you, and we can get into some nitty-gritty details. We'll pause that, jump out. So, let's see. update 1 coming from Mr. 54. And what is that? Update 2. So the server in this setup right now, because of the low pings, 20 milliseconds, the server has acknowledged that this guy has moved. Server does not know that this guy or this guy, do I have another one over here, or this crazy guy over here, Mr. 230 ping and Mr. 189. So at this moment in time, let me see what we have here. 2 hasn't landed. At this moment in time, every player in this particular game, if this was a real game, is actually moving around. Client-side prediction. They're just running around doing their things and jumping and shooting, throwing grenades, shooting rockets, and whatever. But what they see of the game world is that all the other players, everybody except for them, is standing still. Including this guy, Mr. Low Ping. Let's see, what packet is that? That's packet 3. I mean, he's already received packet 1 and about ready to process it out, but the server hasn't received any data from that guy over there, or this guy, or this guy. So let's run it a little bit longer. All right, at this point in time, this guy down here, 54 ping, has finally seen that the 20 millisecond guy has moved. 20 millisecond guy definitely has seen this guy really moving. But to these two guys over here, the low pingers, these other high pingers aren't moving on their screen. They're still in spawn. Not done a damn thing. Absolutely nothing. The data about them, about these other guys moving, is still flowing. Their packets heading to the server are still en route and won't be received for quite some time. So let's just imagine, and I'll have to note here, these two high pingers both see these two low pingers still in spawn, not doing anything, because they haven't received any data from the server saying differently. So they're not doing anything. So they can definitely be shooting at them, throwing grenades, rockets, and whatnot. And all these packets here could be shots. Shoot data. Telling the server, hey, I shot, you need to shoot, and we need to do some hit reg. And it'll be quite some time before that happens. So in that scenario, you can start to see desync in how it mangles the simulation. And everybody else's simulation is different from what you're seeing, because the data coming to you could be really fast, really close in sync with the server, but everybody's data coming to the server is really slow getting to it. So the 20 millisecond guy is way ahead of this guy and all these others. These guys are so far behind in the game simulation, they technically should be kicked because of that difference. So just seeing this in play should highlight a few things about ping. Other players' pings matter. They absolutely 100% matter. And this is a result of desync. Now with games like Battlefield 6 and PUBG and some of the Call of Duties now being set up on cloud servers, it's not helping anything, because when they run cloud servers, you're not getting sub-regional servers. You're getting a regional, maybe one or two. You might have, like in NA, you might have one on the West Coast and you might have one on the East Coast, but they're still sending East Coast players to the West Coast to East, and you have players from Europe over on East and West Coast servers with nasty pings. You have, for PC guys, you're having to deal with people on the console with their low frame rates and getting having to deal with their networks, PlayStation network or Microsoft network for the consoles, and having to deal with the lag and the garbage from that. Most console players, I'm not hating on console players. I've had consoles, I have consoles. I don't play them anymore. I'm just a PC guy. But hey, most of the console guys, they play on Wi-Fi. They're not connected. There's quite a few that are directly connected, Ethernet, but most of them play on through Wi-Fi and have crap signal. They have buffer bloat and all these other things in the routers and crap. So it's a little bit different. We're having to deal with that on the PC. But yeah, um, yeah. Now take a look at it now. We've let this thing play out. We could start seeing a sync. We got all these packets flowing. It looks like the server's firing off at a set sequence. The players are firing off at their set sequence. Everybody is synced to that specific network interval of firing off when they're supposed to firing off. And we have that. Then we have to deal with delays. The ping delays, then processing delays, then game thread and render thread delays. So hopefully this brings some perspective. If games like Battlefield would actually go back to doing game server provider servers where we have multiple locations like we used to, like in Battlefield 4 and the earlier games, where desync was a lot less because we had really close servers to everybody around the country. Just if you just look at the server providers that we had for those games, we had Miami locations, we had Virginia, Washington D.C., we had New Jersey, we had New York, we had Ohio, we had Iowa, we had Chicago, we had Dallas and Houston, and I know we had L.A. and I think San Francisco and San Diego. Just for the United States alone, we had that many locations, and there were servers at every one of them, so we were guaranteed to be able to pick a server with a low ping. Even if they controlled 100% of them and actually just matched us to the ones with the lowest ping to our particular connection, we'd get a hell of a lot less desync. In the client-side prediction video that I have up, you can check that out. That one actually shows how much literal desync we get based off of ping. And I go through from a 0 ping scenario to a 15 where you can start seeing it, 15 on 15, and then 60 on 60 and 100 on 100. And then I actually show client-side prediction, server correction in that one as well. So when the server corrects a player and how that looks, and it shows that the actual server is correcting and so forth. So yeah, I hope this was enlightening and you have a better understanding of ping and how it affects gameplay. And just think of this too, your shot data. Where you're shooting, when you're shooting, how long does it take to get to the server, and there's a lot more to do with the shooting systems in Battlefield 6, which I'll do another video on, because I do have a shooting system set up in Engine. It's pretty badass that we can get into and do some demonstrations with, and look at the different models of shooting and how it's done. So yeah, thanks for watching. Again, any questions, you want more details on specifics, just let me know, and we'll get into it. Have a good one.